Hi guys, I'm glad to say again. First of all, as always, let me thank you all for watching my previous videos and for your all likes and subscription to my channel. Remember, at the third video I told you about my perfect learning system that works for me. So this is why I decided that I have to make it even better, and I decided to make a series of videos based on the PHAK books. I told you about this book in a previous video, and tell you the summary that I got after watching videos, reading books, attending seminars. So by doing this, I will not only repeat the necessary material, but I might become the person who will help you to understand the topic better. Maybe my way of explanation will help you a lot. But before I start making this video, I want to tell you that I'm not a professional, and please don't judge me much. I know there is gonna be a lot of people who like professionals or real pilots. Please don't judge me much, even though I always open for any critics and feedback. Okay, so at this video I will tell you about the chapter 1 and chapter 2 at the book PHAK. So, all right, let's go.
85 heavy, wind 260 at 14 and 2 right for takeoff.
The first topic is aeronautical decision making. To be honest, when I started to learn aviation and read the PHAK book, I thought that this chapter is just like, the chapter just to read and got a general knowledge of this and not more. This is why before the ground school, I read this chapter once and didn't make any notes at all. I said, okay, like we have risk in flight, we have risk management, so I have to be aware of it, and that's all. But during the ground school, I realized that this topic is like one of the most important, and even more, the questions from this topic is gonna be on a check ride and on a written test. So even though this chapter in the book is number 2, for me it was chapter number forget, like forever. At the end, eventually this chapter becomes the last one, which I learned. And this was the greatest mistake I made, of course, but still, that's okay. Once again, don't make my mistakes and learn everything from this book step by step. Don't try to ignore some chapters. It's not gonna work out, really. Yeah, and by the way, I'm sorry for my weird way starting from the chapter 2, not from the chapter 1, but I realized that like this is the very important topic. And if I start with topic number 1, maybe some of you will skip the second topic like me, like I did before. So I realized that I have to make the first video about the chapter 2 and to tell about the necessity of learning every topic like step by step, and then to make a video about chapter number 1. Okay, so ADM, or Aeronautical Decision Making, is a systematic approach to the mental process used by airplane pilots to consistently determine the best course of action in response to the given set of circumstances. So yeah, this like very long sentence, and it might be a little bit hard for you. So during the ground school, our teacher said that you have to learn this definition like word by word, and it will help you a lot, especially during the check ride or during the exam, when examiner will ask you what does ADM means, and if you tell him like the long version, it's like 80% that your check ride is gonna be success. At least you will pass this part of exam with flying colors. It is estimated that 75% of all aviation accidents are human factors related, and so that is why this topic is very important. So I will tell you about these abbreviations. They are ADM, RM, TM, SA, CFIT, and AM. So I've already told you about what does ADM means. The next one is RM. RM is risk management. So generally it is when you always monitoring the situation in order to be able to eliminate or mitigate risk. So after I learned this topic, the whole topic of aeronautical decision making, I started to use it in my real life, like even when I drive in my car, and you will understand it why very, very soon. So the next one is TM. TM is the task management. So the task management means that you always have to do something when you're flying. Our teacher said that when you fly, like if you have a lot of free time and you don't know what to do, something's not right. Like a real pilot have to do at least something during the flight. Checklist, preparing for descent, preparing what he's gonna to say to the nearest ADC or something like this. And if you're doing nothing, it's like it's terrible stations. It's something wrong with you. Okay, the next one is SA. SA is a situational awareness. So if you want to understand this abbreviation clearly, you have for example, think about whether you can answer the questions like where I am, what is going on right now, what is my course, and the stuff. So if you can answer those questions, so you aware of the situation that is going on around you or around your plane. Yeah, so in other words, it's you have to be aware of everything at the moment and be in control, of course. The next one is CFIT. CFIT is the control flight into terrain. For me, it was the craziest stuff I ever heard. The control flight into terrain is when the plane fly normally, but at the end, it ended up like in the ground when everything was okay. So this stuff happens a lot, especially in mountainous regions or during the landing process when pilots relied a lot on automation. And we have AM. AM is automation management. Automation management is when you rely on the computers and automation, but still you use your knowledge to check every step continuously. Okay, let's talk about the very important topic, that is risk management. For risk management, we have a special checklist or the checklist that we can use. So the first one is decide. We can put the word decide in a column, and we have letters D, E, C, I, D, E. So the first letter D means detect. So you have to detect a risk. The next letter is E. E means estimate. So here you have to realize whether you need to interact in this situation or not. For example, during the takeoff, your door opens. So if the weather is fine and visibility is okay, you can just turn around, go back to the airport of your arrival, of your departure. Okay, but if the weather is like very, very bad, you have a rain, turbulence, etc., it's not so simple. The next letter is C. C means choose, and you have to choose what to do. The next letter is I. I means identify your solution. Identify what you have to do right now. The next letter is D. D means do, of course, and the last letter is E, means evaluate. So you have evaluate to understand whether your actions helped you or not. So this is a very good checklist if you got some kind of risk situation, but the most important part is not to be afraid and not panic. So the next checklist is I'm safe. I'm safe is the best way to mitigate risk. So the first letter is I. I is illness. So you have to ask yourself, am I sick? And if yes, you don't have to fly. You cannot fly. Okay. Next letter is M. M means medication. Ask yourself, do you take any medications that can influence your abilities? The interesting part is that FAA has a list of medications that can be used during the flight. So if you taken any medicine and you want to know whether they are approved by FAA or not, you can just go to the FAA website, which is this one, and here you can find the list of all medications you can use in terms of FAA. So the letter S is stress. So I think I don't have a lot to explain here. Stress is a stress. So if you have any kind of stress, like in family, in job, in your relationship, in business, or maybe with friends, so you have to compare the stress with your abilities to fly. Next letter is A. A is alcohol. So the main rule here is that you have to make sure that you follow the main rule, 8 hours from bottle to throttle. This is very good explanation, so you have to remember it, and this question is gonna be at the written exam, and I check right. 8 hours before from bottle to throttle. And of course 0.04% of alcohol consumption in your blood. But don't forget to be honest with how do you feel even after 20 hours after alcohol consumption, okay? Because we are different people, and someone may take a bottle of beer and like he's gonna be okay in 1 hour, but another person can be still ill for the whole day after it. The next one is F, which means fatigue. You have to ask yourself, am I tired? Because if you're tired, it's like the worst part you can do during the flight. And the last letter is E. E means eat, sleep. Like there's 2 words, but still. So you have to realize if there a necessary amount sugar in your blood. Okay, you have to eat good, you have to drink good, and you have to be physically fit for flying. And remember, when I started this video, I told about that I use the aviation decision making right now, even in my ordinary life when I drive in my car. And this is true, because I understood that I can use it, and my driving became safely. Right now, I think twice before I drive in a bad weather, if I feel tired, because when you drive a car, you like, okay, I'm on the road, what's gonna happen with me right now? But still, might become a problem, and we have to use it. And by doing so, we can like improve the situation on the roads a lot. So the next necessary check is so-called 3P check. This is the perceive, process, and perform. So what does it mean? It means that you have to perceive a given set of circumstances, evaluate their impact, and implement necessary actions. So as you can see, this is almost the same as ATM definition. Okay, so the next check is PAVE. So this means pilot, aircraft, environment, and external pressure. So here you have to check yourself as a pilot using I'm safe checklist that we told before. Then you have to check your aircraft and make sure it is worthy. Next, you have to make sure that you are familiar with the airport you're about to depart or arrived, about the weather, about the flight plan, airplane route, everything you have to know, and of course to make sure that you don't have any external pressure. The worst factors for aircraft crash is the flying at night, bad visibility, and when the pilot is in a hurry. For example, he is hurried to get home faster. And of course, you have to think twice before you make a decision to fly. If you're in a hurry, just think twice. Does this hurry equals your life? So this is very necessary. So also we have a 5P checklist. There is the plan, the pilot, the plane, the passenger, and programming. And again, almost like with the 3P, here you have to be familiar with the plan of your flight. You have to check yourself using the I'm safe list as a pilot. You have to make sure that your plane is airworthy, and you have to be able to communicate with your passengers. So it means that sometimes you can use the passenger as a help for you. Like, for example, if you or your passengers need a car or, let's say, food at the destination airport, you can ask a passenger to call and order all you need while you make everything you need for a good departure. Okay. And of course, programming means that you have to rely on automation, but still you have to use your own knowledge to check everything what is going on with you and with your plane. Now let's talk about the pilot's behavior. Yeah, this is also the very important topic, and we have 5 models of pilot behaviors, and we have, of course, 5 antidotes for those behaviors. Yeah, why do we have to learn this topic? Is because, we as a human, we don't like when somebody tells us what to do. We like to show off a lot, especially when you just at the beginning stage you say, oh, okay, let me show you how I can do this, and then you eventually crashed your plane. So that is why we have to understand those 5 behaviors, and we have to understand how we can deal with it and which antidotes we can use to avoid any casualties. So here are 5 attitudes. So the first one is anti-authority. So anti-authority means when you don't like when somebody tells you what to do. For example, don't tell me how to fly. I can do it by myself. Best antidote for this situation is that there is rules, and rules were created in purpose, and rules are usually right. Okay, so if you have a rule and you have to use this rule and you have to do in particular way, do this how the rule said. Never tell I can do it anyway, I don't want to use these rules, it's not gonna happen. It's not like a real life when you sitting in the office. Still you can have mistakes, but those mistakes will not lose your life. The next one is impulsivity. Impulsivity is when we usually like to do everything quickly, and we tend to believe that when we do everything in a hurry we'll have the same result as we do when we're not in a hurry, but it's gonna be a little bit faster. But no, there is an antidote for this. Think first, don't be so fast. Okay, again, for aviation it's very, very important. It's not you sitting in a chair. The next one is this. So it means that we usually say it won't happen to me. I will fly through this cloud, I am very lucky and nothing gonna happen to me. No, the antidote is it can happen with you. And the next one is for us guys. It's macho. So the macho behavior means that watch how I can. Yeah. I know it from my own experience when I first got my driving license. And as you know, when you start to drive a car, you're not as very professional, you're not very experienced driver, and we all make mistakes, a lot of mistakes. But still, at those points, you think that you are a great driver. You got a license, you can do different stuff like drifting and speeding and stuff, and sometimes it costs casualties. So the same happens with the airplane. You just got a license and you can do, I don't know, rolls, spirals and stuff, and you just take your passengers and say, okay, see what I can do. No way you can do it. No. And of course, the antidote for this situation is taking chances is foolish. And the last one is the last behavior is resignation. Resignation means what's the use? Such things happens when you believe that you can do nothing at this particular station. Especially, it happens a lot when the plane is about to crash, and pilots did nothing. They just throw your hands away from the throttle and think, okay, I can do nothing. This is the resignation, and it's not a good behavior for pilot. Yeah, and again, you can compare it with your real life. When you drive in a car, let's say in a snowstorm, and your car start drifting to the other side of the road, and you see a car in front of you coming to your way. The resignation, you just made a hands up and do nothing and go straight to the bottom. This is the same stuff. Real life and aviation, they connect, but in aviation it's a little bit harder because you are in the sky. So the antidote here is don't panic and say to yourself that I'm not helpless. Use all your knowledge. Why we learn everything and why the whole learning process in aviation is very big and very heavy and difficult and a lot of information, because every information, everything you learn will help you in every situation. Really, if you use your knowledge, if you will not panic a lot, you will help yourself and you will save yourself. Okay, so just don't use resignation. Try everything you can, use all your checklists, and everything's gonna be fine. Okay, so the next checklist is team. But team you can use both for pilots and for airplane. So we'll have to make 2 columns with team letters here. And let's start from the first one. So team for pilot. T is transfer. So for pilot is to transfer risk for another pilot. Like for example, you can use the pilot or ask more experienced pilot to accompany you if you think that you will get into a difficult situation you have never experienced. For the plane, transfer means to change the plane. If you see something is not right with the plane, you have to change it. Letter E is the same for pilot and the plane, is eliminate. So if you see any risk, you have to cancel the flight. Letter A, also the same for pilot and the plane. It means accept. So you can accept the risk and continue flying. And then last one is M. M means mitigate. For pilot is to fly with another pilot who is more experienced than you. For plane is to make pre-flight inspection to make sure that your plane is safe. So this was the main stuff you have to know regarding this very, very important topic. If you want to pass the reading exam or a check ride, this information is what you have to know in order to be proficient in this topic. Okay, a lot of info, a lot of abbreviations, but still you have to know it. And one more time, I'm sorry for this mess with me starting with the second chapter, but still I really believe that it might help for some of you who will think that this topic is not important, and after watching the first video about the first chapter, they can like skip the second chapter because they will think that like, okay, risk management, I'm not gonna make risks, I understand it. No, you have to learn it, at least because you have to pass a check ride and exams. Without this topic you will not be able, you have some kind of problems, and not kind of, but big problems, because this topic is kind of very, very important. Okay, I hope this video was useful. Press samba button, subscribe to my channel, and catch some links in the description to this video, and stay tuned.